Racing. This is the 2020 FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships. Round 3, Clay Pigeon Raceway.
We're about to get underway here for race 1 for the Extreme 200s. An exciting grid for these guys. We saw some lap records go earlier on today. Some British Talent Cup riders in this one. The number 16 of Harvey Claridge and also Cameron Horseman in this one as well. You can also see the number 99 there. That's Bailey Stewart Campbell. Number 93 is Harrison Crosby. So lots of big names on this grid, so expect to see some exciting racing just like there was earlier on in the Pit Bike 140s. A few British Talent Cup leathers through the field you can see there, but it's Harrison Crosby who's at the front of this one at the moment. Charlie Nesbitt supposed to be on this grid, can't quite see him on the track at the moment though, so hopefully he can get out on the grid and give us some exciting racing as well.
Yeah, but it was Harrison Crosby that took a really strong pole position, really good lap in Q2, and he will be lining up on that front row. Yeah, but Harrison, you've got to think, he's in a pretty good position in the championship. Of course, Casey O'Gorman leads it, but missing this round. Harrison Crosby in second place, so Harrison will be looking at closing in on that that leading position that Casey's currently holding on to, but obviously with a lack of Casey, Harrison is got to think this is definitely an opportunity of putting himself as the standout in the chase for this title, the Extreme 200s here at FAB. We've got everyone on the grid ready to go, looking to the lights. Get start for the Extreme 200s and off and underway. Charlie Nesbitt does come across the line. Harrison Crosby does come across the line in first position into turn 1. Everyone around the first corner all clean, and it's a good getaway there for the pole sitter.
Yeah, Charlie Nesbitt, the number 86 at the front of this one, just backing it into the hairpin, but just lets through the number 16 of Harvey Claridge there. So a change for the lead on this first lap. Expect to see these riders battling it out race long, and expect to see some lap records set in this one. Further back, you can see Cameron Horseman with the British Talent Cup leathers there. Expect to see him fighting through the field as well. You can also see James Cook there. Number 99 is of Bailey Stewart Campbell, currently in third place, and Harrison Crosby now down to fourth. So Harvey Claridge then is that leads by half a second over the line on that last lap. So he's pulling away now from Charlie Nesbitt, although it looks like Charlie Nesbitt has closed that gap right down already and going into the hairpin.
Yep, the rider from Stenning in with a half-second gap over Charlie. Yeah, the number 18 machine, number 86, over the 16 machine, and Bailey Stewart Campbell in third, Harrison Crosby in fourth, Ryan Hitchcock in fifth, Eddie O'Shea sixth, James Cook seventh, Leo Caulfield eighth, Ollie Walker ninth, Cameron Horseman in 10th, and Alex Sinclair in 11th place. This Extreme 200s, we've got 8 laps left to go. Plenty of racing to be done here as Harvey Claridge does the fastest lap, the 38.0. So that puts him up or near that race record, because, well, race record is in fact 38.0 goes to Harvey Claridge. Lap record was Charlie Nesbitt in qualifying. Yeah, so
already first lap, and they've already broken the lap record. So brilliant pace from the front for these guys at the moment. Harvey Claridge doing a brilliant job to control the pace at the front. Still half a second over Charlie Nesbitt. So it'll be interesting to see what Charlie Nesbitt can do. But it's 0.2 of a second now across the line. So Charlie Nesbitt really putting a charge on to stay with Harvey Claridge. Harrison Crosby just holding on to third place at the moment ahead of Eddie O'Shea. But you can see Charlie Nesbitt getting nice and close now to Harvey Claridge, backing it into the hairpin once again as a marshal just picks up a knee slider that went off on the side of the circuit. Hopefully that's not Harvey Claridge we saw last time out of Lid. He lost 2 knee sliders last time, so hopefully both of those are still on and he can finish this one, although it does look like he's hovering his knee over the and not quite putting it down there, but I think I'm just slightly overthinking that one. He has got his knee sliders on there. The number 86 of Charlie Nesbitt then getting really close to Harvey Claridge at the moment. So what can Charlie do about the number 16 of Harvey Claridge?
Yeah, it's the last person you want behind you going into, you can see Charlie getting sideways going into the hairpin, but yeah, for Harvey it's the last person you want behind you, because Charlie will put his bike everywhere to get past you, and so he will use all of the track to his advantage. So Harvey Claridge has got his work cut out if he's going to hold off Charlie Nesbitt over the next 7 laps or so. But he's got a good run here. You can see Charlie Nesbitt closing in on Harvey Claridge, but Harvey goes and takes that racing line. He's making Charlie go the long way round if he's going to get an overtake done. Behind, Harrison Crosby's moved up into 3rd place ahead of Eddie O'Shea. Ryan Hitchcock is in 5th position. James Cook now up into 6th. Leo Caulfield moves past Bailey Stewart Campbell, who's dropped down to 8th.
Yep, and number 86 there, Charlie Nesbitt getting real close to Harvey Claridge at the hairpin. Tried to make a move stick, but was just slightly too far back, almost made contact at the hairpin. So perhaps will be a place where we see Charlie try to make a move later on in this race. Still 7 laps to go in this one, and your championship leader in this one, Gareth, is actually someone who's not here at the moment. Casey O'Gorman was led at the first round, picked up a few wins there, but he's not around in this one, so a good chance for Harrison Crosby, Charlie Nesbitt, Eddie O'Shea to get some points on him.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to think it's almost up the inside. Goes Charlie Nesbitt on Harvey Claridge, and behind you can see the battle still going on between Eddie O'Shea and Harrison Crosby, but Charlie really starting to get racy behind Harvey Claridge now, trying to find a way past and trying to force his way through, almost rubbing the back tyre there of the 16, and Charlie Nesbitt really putting the pressure on as they come down the main bend, almost a straight as they get towards turn 1, and but it is Harvey Claridge holding on to this one. 0.3 of a second is the gap. 5 laps left to go in this one, and Harvey Claridge is going to be sweating if he can hold on to this one.
Yeah, you just see every lap Charlie Nesbitt just has a look at the hairpin, gets it sideways, and just see if he can get through on Harvey Claridge. So you're going to think that's where he's going to try and make a move stick. We saw him last time around try and make a move at the final corner, not trying it this time around. Gets a nice wide line into there. So he's just figuring out where he can make a move on Harvey Claridge, and you've got to think it's going to come at some point, because Charlie Nesbitt definitely not shy of a battle. We saw that with Brad Ray last time out, both taking a nice wide line. Harvey Claridge, like you say, going real defensive into turn 2. He knows that Charlie Nesbitt is right on his back wheel and doesn't want to let Nesbitt through. Both under the lap record then by quite some way. 37.8 for Claridge and a 37.7 for Nesbitt. So that lap record going the way of Charlie Nesbitt at the moment. But they're not bothered about lap records at this point. It's about who can get one on the other one. Who's going to take the win in this race. Looking further back at the battle for third place there, that's Harrison Crosby and Eddie O'Shea battling it out. So a brilliant pace from them being shown as well as they just come through on a back marker now. And Charlie Nesbitt absolutely on the back wheel and now in front of Harvey Claridge. So a brilliant move from Charlie Nesbitt to get in front of Harvey Claridge. You're going to think Harvey's going to try and have a look now at what he can do about Charlie Nesbitt. Both matched for pace, but Charlie absolutely riding extremely well now at the front. Yep, 2 laps left to go at the end of this one, and it's now Harvey Claridge has now got to go on the offensive, with Charlie Nesbitt making his way up into first place, making that move into turn 1. Can Harvey get a run on him around the outside, sweeping into the tight first corner, and you can see just taking the apex goes Charlie Nesbitt, making sure that he covers off any potential moves, and through the S section, as you can see, just having a quick look behind just to see where Harvey Claridge is, but not quite close enough to get a move done into the first of the hairpins. Now into the horseshoe, and it is Charlie Nesbitt that's going to come around to start the final lap in the lead of this one, taking a much tighter apex there, hugging the inside line and trying to make sure that Harvey doesn't even get an eye in about a place he can get a move. Yeah, that was something we saw in one of the races earlier on. Charlie tends to take a really tight line through there, and it seems to work really well for him. You can see Claridge was quite a bit wider and lost a bit of time on Nesbitt there. So Nesbitt with a little bit of breathing space at the moment. Harvey Claridge is going with him, but a little bit of space for Charlie to not have to ride as defensively as if Harvey was right on his back wheel. But with 1 lap to go in this one, looks like Charlie Nesbitt is trying to cover his lines. Only 1 chance for Harvey Claridge to get through on Charlie Nesbitt. He doesn't seem to be close enough. So what can he do? Get him on a drag to the line as they come towards the line. Harvey Claridge doing everything he can to get up on Charlie Nesbitt. But it's Charlie Nesbitt who takes the win ahead of Harvey Claridge. Brilliant ride for both of those, and the lap record goes to Harvey Claridge on the final lap there. So doing everything he could to get through on Charlie Nesbitt, but it wasn't enough. Charlie Nesbitt takes another win in the Extreme 200. Every race he's been in, in the Extreme 200s, Gareth. He's either finished in first or second.
Yeah, that's a third win on the season fourth win of the season for Charlie Nesbitt. And Harvey Claridge, as you say, doing all he can and taking that race lap record with a 37.735, 0.03 of a second faster than Charlie Nesbitt. But it is Charlie Nesbitt that takes the victory, 0.1 of a second ahead of Harvey Claridge. Eddie O'Shea holds on to third place by 0.5 tenth over Harrison Crosby. Harrison just missing out on the podium. Ryan Hitchcock in 5th place with James Cook in 6th. Leo Caulfield in 7th. Bailey Stewart Campbell in 8th. Ollie Walker in 9th position, and Karen Horseman in 10th.
Extreme 200s for this one, so expect some exciting stuff from them. Charlie Nesbitt, who we saw take a win in the Pit Bike 140s not so long ago, he'll be starting from pole position in this one after picking up a win yesterday. So the number 86 on pole position for the Extreme 200s. Eddie O'Shea will line up next to him, the number 8 machine. He picked up a podium yesterday, as well as Harvey Claridge in 3rd spot on this grid. The number 93 of Harrison Crosby will line up in 4th ahead of Leo Caulfield, the number 113 in 5th place, and the number 99 of Bailey Stewart Campbell lining up on 6th spot on the grid. Ryan Hitchcock, who we saw earlier on in the LC40 Elites, he's 7th on this grid ahead of the number 44 of James Cook, Ollie Walker, the number 48 in 9th, and Cameron Horseman in 10th place. Alex Sinclair in 11th rounds out your grid. So there you have it, the number 86 of Charlie Nesbitt just lining up on this grid. You can see there on pole position next to Eddie O'Shea, both on the WAM sponsored and liveried machines there. So really nice liveries on those two bikes as they look to the lights for race 2 for the Extreme 200s, and they're away. So Charlie Nesbitt with a brilliant start down into turn 1, and it's the 2 British Talent Cup leathers in 2nd and 3rd. Harvey Claridge making his way up into 2nd, determined not to let the number 86 of Charlie Nesbitt get away in this race. Looks like we have a rider down there. That's Eddie O'Shea now out of this race, so 2nd on the grid and was running in 3rd. Looks a little bit confused as to what happened there. Unfortunate for Eddie O'Shea, so he's out of this one. Getting the bike picked up the number 8 machine there with the WAM sponsored livery, but it's Harvey Claridge now who's right on the rear wheel of Charlie Nesbitt and trying to find his way into the lead of this race. Harvey Claridge absolutely flying on that last lap with a 39.5 off of the line.
Yeah, Eddie O'Shea, disaster for the 8 bike there. You can see arms up in the air, just didn't know what happened down at the exit of the S's section, but it is Charlie Nesbitt leading this one. Harvey Claridge, once again, fastest lap. He stole the fastest lap on the last lap of the race yesterday of 37.735 is a race lap record here at Clay Pigeon, and Harvey Claridge was pushing Charlie Nesbitt to the bitter end. Just missed out on that race win after holding on to the lead of the race for so long. Unfortunately relinquished it with a couple of laps to go, and there's the 93 making a move there. Harrison Crosby now up into 2nd position past Bailey Stewart Campbell. Ryan Hitchcock in 4th position, Max Cook in 5th, Cameron Horseman in 6th place, and Ollie Walker in 7th.
Yeah, it looks like your race leader there, Charlie Nesbitt, isn't coming up on our timing screens at the moment, but he is still at the front of this race. So the number 86, perhaps some transponder troubles for him. So Harvey Claridge currently in 2nd place and just seems to be losing a little bit of ground to Charlie Nesbitt at the front. Looking at Harrison Crosby there and the number 99 of Bailey Stewart Campbell. That battle for 3rd hotting up. You could just see in the distance there the British Talent Cup leathers of Harvey Claridge, but looking now at the number 99 of Bailey Stewart Campbell in 3rd place in this race, trying to find his way up onto the back of Harrison Crosby, and Ryan Hitchcock as well, who we saw was really quick on the mini motos earlier on, has 3 lap records around this circuit, so definitely likes the short sharp track of the Clay Pigeon Raceway. So Ryan Hitchcock, we see his first podium of 2020 in this class for Ryan Hitchcock? It's definitely possible, but it's going to have to find his way past Bailey Stewart Campbell and and Harrison Crosby first.
Yep, and it's going to be, it would be a brilliant result for Ryan, and he has Harvey Claridge goes purple with a 38.0. So He's getting close to that race lap record that he held from yesterday's first race of the day, and but it's Charlie Nesbitt who took an overnight lead in the championship by 1 point to Harrison Crosby. So Harrison, he's got to hold on to where Charlie is on circuit and hope that the 86 doesn't move up and claim too many points, because of course still one more race to go after this one this afternoon, so plenty of time to claw back some points before round 4 in 2 weeks' time at Wilton Mill in Daventry. But if you're Harrison Crosby, you don't want to get Charlie, let him move up the field too much.
No, not at all. Casey O'Gorman's still leading this championship. Actually, he took a good few wins and second places last time out at Lydd, but isn't here this weekend. So a chance for Charlie Nesbitt and Harrison Crosby to rack up the points and close him down in the championship. But it is still number 86 of Charlie Nesbitt who's leading from Harvey Claridge and Harrison Crosby there in third place. Ryan Hitchcock trying to get up onto the back of Harrison Crosby to fight for the podium, as you see. And number 86 of Charlie Nesbitt beautifully backing it into the hairpin. He does it every lap and gets a fastest lap of the race on that last lap as well, for good measure, with a 37.7, very close to the lap record that Harvey Claridge set yesterday, but not quite beating it. So on lap record pace and doing it in style is Charlie Nesbitt with 7 laps to go of this race. And he takes the lap record then as he drops a leg into turn 2, takes the lap record on that last lap of 37.6 for Charlie Nesbitt. So absolutely flying out the front. You just see him down into the hairpin, and the number 16 there of Harvey Claridge dropping a leg down into the hairpin. Can't quite stick with the pace of Charlie Nesbitt in this race. So unfortunately no battle for the win at the moment, as we look further back there at the number 16 as well of Cameron Horseman, the number 6 rather of Cameron Horseman, running there with the red wheels, also with the British Talent Cup leathers, running a bit further back in this race.
Yep, and but it is Charlie Nesbitt who is controlling this one from the front, and even with a pretty decent gap between himself and Harvey Claridge, he's just pushing. So that, I mean, that's in the nature of Charlie, is it? Just to keep going.
And sidebar timing there being controlled by Race Control is all back up and running, so you can see there that Charlie Nesbitt is leading this one ahead of Harvey Claridge and Harrison Crosby there in third place. Ryan Hitchcock looking menacing there on our screens, the number 43. He's defending fourth place from the number 99 of Bailey Stewart Campbell at the moment, with 5 laps to go in this race. Charlie Nesbitt now with a 3-second lead over Harvey Claridge. Ryan Hitchcock doing all he can to defend that fourth place from the number 99 of Bailey Stewart Campbell. They go down into the hairpin. Slightly defensive there from Hitchcock. No way through for the number 99 of Bailey Stewart Campbell, but Bailey's got 4.5 laps to study the back of the number 43 and find his way through to take fourth place away from him. Harrison Crosby, the number 93, in third at the moment, with 3 laps to go of this race. Brilliant stuff from all of them as they head down into turn 2.
Yep, Bailey Stewart Campbell moving up 1 place from 6th on the grid into 5th, unfortunately with the retirement of Eddie O'Shea earlier on, who seemed to have had an issue on the exit of the S's on the first lap. So Eddie, I'm sure, will be majorly disappointed with that, because he was looking at reeling in some points on the likes of Charlie Nesbitt, Harrison Crosby and Casey O'Gorman in the lead of this championship. But it is Charlie Nesbitt that has just decided to ride away from everyone else, and the 86 machine is just once again enjoying himself out there, just lapping and lapping faster and faster. And from a mindset of a rider, what's it like when you're leading? You've got a really big gap. Is it just about making sure that you hit all your apexes perfectly? Because you all know that mistakes can happen at any time.
Absolutely. Charlie Nesbitt's just got to make sure he's hitting all his markers and just setting the pace that he has been doing. He's doing a brilliant job of it at the front as he comes across the line to start the penultimate lap in this race, and see the number 86. when you're leading a race like this with a good 5-second lead and no one around to play around with, it always feels like the race goes on for a lot longer and the laps seem a lot longer as he backs it in to the hairpin. Brilliant stuff from Charlie Nesbitt. Every lap there nice and smooth, backs it into the hairpin and setting consistent 37s in this race. So on lap record pace every single lap as we see him come around the corner to start the final lap of this race.
Yeah, Charlie Nesbitt showing impeccable bike control there into the hairpin, just sliding the back tyre into the corner, getting it slowed down and getting a really good launch of momentum out of the hairpin, which is the reason why we've seen him bouncing around race lap record pace the entire way through this one. He's been just riding away from everyone else. Harvey Claridge has not been able to stay with him like we saw yesterday in race 1. In fact, it's now a 5.5 second gap. And then Harvey, equally, he's in a little bit of a race of his own. Harrison Crosby, another 5.5 seconds back from him. So the top 3 just kind of enjoying themselves out there. Bailey Stewart Campbell has dropped back a little bit, but he's got Ryan Hitchcock for company. In fact, Bailey Stewart Campbell has moved past Ryan Hitchcock, but as Charlie Nesbitt comes across the line and wins the race in sensational style, what a win for the young man there. Visor up straight away to find out where everyone else is finishing, but it's going to be Harvey Claridge in second, Harrison Crosby third. Bailey Stewart Campbell does hold on to 4th place with Ryan Hitchcock 10th of a second back. In 6th is Max Cook. Ollie Walker is in 7th place, and Cameron Horseman was a lap down in 8th place.
Yeah, and some brilliant wheelies there from the number 86 of Charlie Nesbitt. Stand-up wheelies to celebrate this victory as he puts that front wheel in the air once again. So a brilliant win from Charlie Nesbitt and a lap record for Charlie Nesbitt just for good measure. So he's closing down the lead that Casey O'Gorman has with 25 points up on Spud. He will very possibly take the championship lead after that one. So good win from Charlie. Harvey Claridge in 2nd place and Harrison Crosby in 3rd, picking up good points as well. Bailey Stewart Campbell did get the better of Ryan Hitchcock in the end with the number 30 there of Max Cook, the British Junior Talent Team rider, in 6th place as well.
Let's go! The official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing.
The Extreme 200s then. Charlie Nesbitt will line up on pole position ahead of the number 8 of Eddie O'Shea, British Talent Cup rider. Many of the riders on this grid coming from the BSB paddock. A good few British Talent Cup riders in there, such as Eddie O'Shea, Harvey Claridge, Harrison Crosby, Bailey Stewart Campbell, Ryan Hitchcock, Ollie Walker, and Cameron Horseman, who is a British Talent Cup graduate, riding in the GP2 category this year, that runs in the Supersport category over at BSB. So many riders here from the BSB paddock. Charlie Nesbitt then on pole position ahead of Eddie O'Shea, Harvey Claridge in 3rd and Harrison Crosby in 4th. The 3rd row of the grid is fronted by Leo Caulfield ahead of the number 99 of Bailey Stewart Campbell, Ryan Hitchcock in 7th ahead of number 44 of James Cook, number 48 of Ollie Walker in 9th spot ahead of Cameron Horseman, who we were just talking about, and rounding out your grid is the number 42 of Alex Sinclair. Just lining up on the grid then, you see Charlie Nesbitt getting the heat into his brakes, a little stoppy on to the grid there ahead of the number 16 of Harvey Claridge. Harvey, we've seen, comes alive at the beginning of the races, gets good starts and carves through the field on the first lap. So will he be able to do it again as they look to the lights? And there are a brilliant start there from Charlie Nesbitt, gets a nice clean start away, and Harvey Claridge, like we said, up into 2nd position and will be looking to try and close down Charlie Nesbitt, and he's right on his back wheel already. So Harvey Claridge with a brilliant start. Eddie O'Shea just looking like he's struggling a little bit at the beginning of this race. Harvey Claridge drops a leg down into the hairpin, and Bailey Stewart Campbell up the inside of Eddie O'Shea for 3rd now. So exciting scenes at the beginning of this one as we see Ryan Hitchcock go up the inside of Harrison Crosby as well. Harrison Crosby returns the favour into the final corner and has a look at Eddie O'Shea, shows him a wheel but couldn't quite make his way through. So an exciting opening lap here, but it is Charlie Nesbitt who leads from the number 16 of Harvey Claridge. You can see there with the British Talent Cup leathers, the Alpine style leathers, looking very trick on that bike, but it's the number 86 with the WAM sponsored and beautifully liveried bike there, backing it in beautifully into the hairpin there. But it looks as if we've got a problem for the number 16 of Harvey Claridge. He's pulling off and slowing down, so we're robbed for a battle for the win here as Harvey Claridge looks as if he's on his way back to the pits. He's letting riders through, and unfortunately that is curtains for the number 16 of Harvey Claridge.
Yeah, he was looking really strong early on. He'd set a purple lap time on that previous lap, but that's allowed Charlie to stretch his legs out, and we've now got almost a 4.5 second gap in the lead of this one. But yeah, a real shame there for Harvey Claridge, who was looking in good order to fight for another race win here in the Extreme 200s. He'd had a really good start, and unfortunately for him, just seemed to lose drive or some sort of technical issue into the hairpin section, coasted to the outside and back into the pit lane for him, and that ends his weekend, I'm sure, in disappointing fashion. But what it does is promotes Charlie up into a commanding lead with Harrison Crosby in second, with Ryan Hitchcock closing him down. They've got Eddie O'Shea and Max Cook for company. Max Cook in 5th position has moved up from 8th position on the grid, so really good start there from the 30, and closing in on Eddie O'Shea, and Eddie O'Shea having a better showing in this one after having a bike issue in the previous race and going down at the end of lap 1. So Eddie O'Shea will be looking at picking up a podium. He's got to close in on Ryan Hitchcock, but Ryan Hitchcock is really starting to put the pressure on Harrison Crosby.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from then. Charlie Nesbitt absolutely stretching out the lead at the front now. Consistent low 38s, a second faster than anyone else on circuit. So he's gone at the front and looking comfortable to take the win. Still 8 laps to go in this race, though. Harrison Crosby then it is that's defending from Ryan Hitchcock. 2 of the graduates from the FAB-Racing paddock now racing over in the British Talent Cup, but back for some Extreme 200 action. Looking back at the number 8 of Eddie O'Shea and James Cook there.
Yeah, a really good race, starting to bubble up in the sort of back end of the podium between Ryan Hitchcock, Eddie O'Shea and Max Cook. They equally try and push on Harrison Crosby in the 93, and you can see flashing in front of your eyes as they cross the start-finish lines. Harrison, Ryan, Eddie and Max all within a second of each other, and they have been dropped by Charlie Nesbitt, who's now 7 seconds up the road. So the battle is well and truly on for second and third. They will all be fighting over a podium position. We've got Ollie Walker in 6th, Alex Sinclair in 7th, and Cameron Horseman coming across the line in 8th. We've lost Harvey Claridge and Bailey Stewart Campbell from this one, but it's Charlie Nesbitt leading. Harrison Crosby with Ryan Hitchcock all up behind him. He's trying to just find the right opportunity to get that bike up the inside. You can see the 93 defending from the 43, and Ryan Hitchcock looking very racy indeed on this Extreme 200 bike. Harrison Crosby with a lot of work to do. We've got 6 laps left to go, about 5.5 if they exit the S's, and Charlie Nesbitt is commanding this one from the front, but it's Harrison Crosby that's the one that's got work to do.
Yeah, Harrison Crosby just covering his lines there, trying to make sure Ryan Hitchcock can't find his way through around this Clay Pigeon circuit. Ryan Hitchcock, we know, goes really well around this circuit. It's got 3 lap records around this circuit now on the LC40 Elites, GP50s and GP70s. So now having a go at the Extreme 200s as well. But it's Eddie O'Shea now who's latching onto the back of these guys. So Eddie O'Shea with some extremely good pace now, and is going to come into this battle for second place. Ryan Hitchcock has a look over his shoulder, and he'll see the number 8 there of Eddie O'Shea closing in. James Cook there also in 5th spot at the moment.
Yep, really good race here for Harrison Crosby, doing all he can to hold on to this second place and trying to stop the likes of Charlie Nesbitt building too much of a lead going into the 4th round of the season at Wilton Mill in a few weeks' time. But Charlie's checked out at the front. It's a 9.4 second gap. He's comfortably 0.8 of a second faster than anyone else, and the reason for that is that Harrison Crosby is really starting to fend off the likes of the 43, Ryan Hitchcock and Eddie O'Shea, who will be thinking with a couple of laps left to go that a podium is well in got the chance of him grabbing, because he can see two riders just up ahead, and Harrison Crosby doing all he can to fend off Ryan Hitchcock, who's looking very racy. But Ed O'Shea gets a really good run out of the final corner down towards turn 1. The gap between the three of them was less than 0.3 of a second. So you see Charlie Nesbitt just going down the back straight there into the hairpin. He doesn't have to worry at all. He's got a huge lead there as he goes past Alex Sinclair, I believe that was, as he crosses into the final corner to go on to the penultimate lap of this one.
Yeah, so 2 laps to go then for Charlie Nesbitt as he comes across the line to start the penultimate lap. Looking back to see who's around, no one quite close enough, I'm afraid, Charlie. It's a lonely race for you out the front, but it's not a lonely race for Harrison Crosby, who's defending from Ryan Hitchcock and Eddie O'Shea. Eddie O'Shea looked like he was making a move, but number 86 there of Charlie Nesbitt backing it in beautifully into the hairpin once again. Leaves me speechless as he goes down into the hairpin. Brilliant riding from Charlie Nesbitt as he comes into the final corner to conclude the penultimate lap and start the last lap of this race. So one more lap to go for Charlie Nesbitt. But who will it be who's going to take the second place? Will it be Harrison Crosby, Ryan Hitchcock or Eddie O'Shea? But it's Charlie Nesbitt, who you can see backing it into the hairpin again. Nicely done there from Charlie Nesbitt. Has a look behind him. No one behind, I'm afraid, Charlie. There's just a few more corners to go then for Charlie Nesbitt into the final corner. The GP2 star at number 86, Charlie Nesbitt, comes across the line to take the win here in the final race of the day for the Extreme 200. Little wheelie across the line. He's happy with that one. Enjoyable race for him, but a lonely race nonetheless. So number 93 then, Harrison Crosby it is going to be, who's going to take second place ahead of Eddie O'Shea. Eddie O'Shea will finish in third place, with Harrison Crosby taking 20 points in second ahead of Ryan Hitchcock and James Cook in fifth place. Ollie Walker, then the number 48, is in sixth ahead of Alex Sinclair in seventh. Unfortunately, Cameron Horseman, Bailey Stewart Campbell and Harvey Claridge not able to finish this race. It did feel like we got robbed for a little bit of a battle for the lead between Charlie Nesbitt and Harvey Claridge there, but Charlie will be happy with the 25 points.
Yeah, Charlie waving to the cameras, waving to the paddock, everyone watching, and you can see there everyone out on circuit having a good time, popping some wheelies, having a laugh, and enjoying what has been the end to a fantastic weekend's racing for the Extreme 200s. But it is Charlie Nesbitt that took the fastest lap on the last lap of that race as well, 38 flat, and he does take the race win with a huge margin over Harrison Crosby in second position. Eddie O'Shea managed to get past Ryan Hitchcock in the late stages of that one, and he finishes on the podium in third. Ryan Hitchcock does come home fourth with Max Cook in fifth, Ollie Walker in sixth, and Alex Sinclair in seventh position. Unfortunately, we did lose Cameron Horseman, Harvey Claridge and Bailey Stewart Campbell